I just want to issue a little bit of a warning. This is going to be a chunky video, about 32, 33 minutes in length, so I'd ask that you add it to the watch later and check it out. Maybe watch it during a work shift where you have free time, or maybe on a lunch break or something. Thanks. Hello, so I spent the past 24 hours gathering questions for a question and answer where you could pretty much ask me anything, and here are a lot of the questions. I think I answered actually the majority of them, all but like a few, really. And if I omitted your question, it's because I didn't understand it, or it just wasn't like straightforward enough, if you will. Or it had something that I just felt like was not good to be very public about. So, yeah. There are some edgy questions in here. There are some things that some people might disagree with. But I wanted to answer and give everyone a chance here, regardless of the questions. So let's handle this like an adult. If you disagree with something, that's okay. If you have a differing opinion, that's okay. If you think that I'm just a bitch, that's okay. Let's go on with it. So to get started, I'm going to break down the structure of the video, if you will. So I gathered questions and I organized them in 3 different categories, and that is gaming related, Destiny related, and other stuff, so like IRL, career, whatever you might ask. And I think I'll do one of each in a row, so like one gaming, one Destiny, one other, one gaming, one Destiny, one other, until I run out of questions in one, and I'll just alternate back and forth until we are out of questions. And I'll show a little picture of the question and the person who asked it. I polled questions from a Google form, which was for anonymous questions, a YouTube comment section, like community post thing, and Twitter. So, a lot of different pictures. Yeehaw, brothers. Alex Cassell asks, what keeps you on Destiny and what game could potentially take you from it? So right now, friends and shooting guns is what keeps me on Destiny. Another game that could take me from it is pretty much any MMO if I'm able to make content for it and still maintain a bit of a following and still get some decent views on Twitch and YouTube. This is a little bit of a complex topic because, you know, like I like RuneScape, I like WoW, but I also like things like Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and sometimes I like Destiny. So it's a little bit of a complex subject for me, but I do feel like I might end up switching games or something like that later on in my career, but for now I'm just shooting guns and Destiny and space magic. Domowo asked, do you rather streaming to regular job, and are you at the level where you can support yourself off only streams and YouTube? So ideally, it depends on the job, and it depends on the monotony and physical levels of the job. I don't really like to stand up for too long because I'm pretty lazy. But I've worked some like very long physical labor jobs, like lawn care, working 13 hours in the Floridian summer. And I don't like it, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. So I would say yes, I do, because I kind of enjoy creating content and, you know, making people laugh or smile or whatever, giving them a good time, and engaging with people. It's actually quite fun. As, you know, cookie cutter of an answer that is that every content creator will give you that answer, but anyway, do I support myself, or am I able to support myself off solely YouTube and Twitch? I think right now I could say yes, but I would like to be able to live a little bit more comfortably, if you will. Ladies, man, and Rue, we got a little bit of a combo question here. One of them asked, why did you get that nose ring? And the other asking, was it painful? I got the nose ring just because I felt like it, and it actually looks pretty fucking banging on me, so I was like, yeah, let's do it, man. And did it hurt? Not really, I didn't feel it at all. Just as most piercings, you generally don't feel anything, unless you get like a nipple piercing, and then I reckon since that's a pretty sensitive area to begin with, that's probably not going to tickle too much. I have friends with them, but I never really asked this question because if you're getting a piercing, you're just trying to be a swag daddy, so you don't care about the pain, right? King of Girths asks, where should I go to start scrimming if I don't know anyone in the community and don't have a team? To that, I don't really have a great answer. I met my friends and then they kind of introduced me and we just kind of didn't host scrims, but I would say Faceit, make some friends on Faceit or whatever platform. Although I would just advise against taking this game that seriously in general. Should I bother grinding a Quick Draw Mindbenders if I have a Quick Draw Retold Tale? My opinion is Mindbenders is probably going to be better, and I'll get into that in the next question. Are there any noticeable differences between aggressive and precision frame shotguns in general besides the fire rate increase on kill for aggressives? For me, aggressive frame shotguns have always one-hit killed very, very consistently after they changed the shotguns back in like Season 5 or some shit like that. So that's my opinion. I would just say use what works for you, really. Colin Kwasnick asked, what's your favorite classic console/game? Sega, N64, etc., that kind of stuff. So I'll start from the bottom here. On the NES, I would probably say mine's Zelda 2, Adventure of Link. That game was pretty fucking sick. We jump up, it'd probably be Super Mario World for the SNES, just due to the fact that there's so many ROM hacks and there's so much stuff available for that game. We go up even more. The N64 for me would probably be F-Zero X or Ocarina of Time. Maybe one of those, probably F-Zero X. And if we go up one more to like the PlayStation kind of time, I guess it's the same generation. I would have to say like Metal Gear Solid. I'm a big fan of the MGS series. So we're going to do something tricky dicky since this is our miscellaneous or other question. We're going to go in order here and just loop right back around to another question since this is all three. Why do you call yourself a dead content creator? It's more of a meme. It's not something that I really take super seriously because like what is a dead content creator, right? What would be my plan to deal with the matchmaking playlist situation? I don't want to say remove SBMM, but I just want to say, again, centralize fucking playlists instead of having 19 different playlists and make thinning out the player base even more than what it is. What's a game that you thought about streaming but have been worried to? That's a tough question. I don't think I have a fair answer for it. I would like to stream an MMO or like Call of Duty or something, but it's not more about worry, it's more about I know I'm not going to have much success there, so I'm not going to do it. Perfectly Fried Bread asked, if you knew that in 1 year you could die suddenly, would you change anything about the way you're currently living? Why? You know you'll die, no medications or change of lifestyle will stop it, although you could still die sooner. I would probably go and visit some friends and then blow my brains out, honestly. Like I don't have like a win or loss for this one, that's just... I wouldn't want to see myself deteriorate and crumble over time like that over a period of a year. That would be so horrible. Quite a morbid question, but hey, dude, I said I'd go for anything. Chris to the motherfucking B ass. I love playing PvP, and I'm a reasonable player. Nothing amazing, but nothing terrible. Until I go into the comp, where I go just fall to absolute pieces. Got any tips for staying cool? Not so much avoiding tilt, but just getting too worked up or nervous over being comped rather than QP. The competitive playlist is a joke. It's just a different game mode. I wouldn't view it as competitive at all. It's just 3v3 instead of 6v6, and you don't get to respawn after a little bit. I would just view it as what it really is. It's not very competitive and it's nothing too special. Look at things objectively and you'll come to see that it's not quite as serious as you think it is. If you lose, especially in my current seasons, there's almost no benefit or no negatives to losing unless you lose like 16 games in a row, since you pretty much make up all your losses for the past hour in 2 wins in a row. We had an anonymous question. Hey gamer, how do you take care of your setup? Like cleaning schedule and process and stuff. So it's actually quite straightforward. Your keyboard, compressed air, if you really need to soak your keys, you can do it in some denture cleaner and some water. That is your key caps, not the mechanical switches. And when it comes to cleaning the mouse pad, you can scrub it lightly with a sponge and some dish soap in the bathtub. I've got a pretty big mouse pad, so I have to do it in the tub or the shower or whatever. The mouse it's generally a clean when it needs to be cleaned basis. And even then I use a very light amount of isopropyl alcohol. Get around the sensor, just get the dust off of it, and sometimes there's like dead skin cells or whatever, and kind of get those off and just give it a nice little sanitization every once in a while. Keyboard, you could do it anywhere from 3 months to 1 year. That's pretty much all the stuff really, 3 months to 1 year. Dusting, you want to do it fairly regularly, at least once a month, like your desk and stuff like that, so that you're not sneezing up a storm. But I don't do it near that much. So, got another anonymous one. What is your reason for getting up each morning? ? In other words, what do you see as the reason for living? ? Sometimes I struggle to be productive because I fail to see the importance of life if we are just going to die anyway, and then nothing we ever did will have mattered. Do you ever feel like that? So this got to more about me than learning about you. But it's nice to have someone else's input, you know? So in and of itself, this concept is definitely a philosophical issue, if you will. It's definitely a conflict, and it's a very conflicting kind of statement and feelings and what have you. But my approach to this is, It's not very kind. What is my reason for getting up each morning? Because I have to get up. I have to do stuff. I don't want to lay in bed. I get bored. I want to play video games. What do I see for a reason for living? Does there have to be a reason for everything? You know what I mean? Why do you have a job? It's for money. Why do you eat food? It's to live. Why do you breathe air? It's because your blood needs oxygen. Aren't there enough reasons in the world right now? The reason for living is, I guess, what you make it to be. Personally, for me, it's just, I'm living because I'm living. If I didn't have a reason for living, or I needed a reason for living, I would have blown my brains out like years ago, dude. So that's just my approach on it. And to answer the relevance of you on impactfulness or whatever, or nothing ever mattered, I mean, that goes for pretty much everyone, right? Except for a very, very small percentage of people. Inevitably, everyone dies, as far as we know. And there's, like, really nothing going about it. It's like, all you did was contribute to the life cycle, and that's okay. Just like the same way as you can just not have a reason for things. It's entirely okay to just not contribute. Tara Berg has one. When learning how to snipe, I was wondering which sniper to use. All the content creators told me, whichever one I hit my shots with. It no longer matters to me, because I've used many different ones and figured it out. But for other new snipers, do I have a better answer? No, not really. I just use whichever one I think looks cool and whichever one is fun to me. That's really it. If, like, Tranquility just sounds really sick, so I've just been using that. If I wanted to be the most optimal, I just run around Beloved and get free headshots all day, right? So it really is just, what do you have fun with? Try out a few of them. I asked, what got you into FPS games competitive, and how many years have you had experience in a competitive environment? So I've always been a little bit of a competitive spirited kid. Like when I was younger, I was always very competitive. I always wanted to be good at stuff. Competitive gaming, I can't pinpoint it, because I always played like some Quake or some Counter-Strike or something like that. And always kind of around that environment. But I think like my first real getting into it was probably in Halo 3 when I met Drewski and his cousin and all that, and we played a lot of MLG and stuff like that. I'd probably say that qualifies as like my entry point, if you will. So if you consider that, I would probably say around 13, 14, 15 years. Something like that. Jeffrey Sways asked, what is your advice on overcoming a bad spell when you feel you are not quite performing the way you used to? So I feel like this is a multifaceted question, and there's quite a few different approaches. Sometimes you just need to take a break from whatever you're doing and underperforming, and maybe that's work, then you can't really afford that. So my next recommendation, or what personally works for me, is I identify where there's a mental block, and instead of avoiding it, I just try to confront it and deal with it. So maybe I'm like garbage at mathematics, and I'm doing some programming stuff. I'm going to confront that, not have this mental block, and just understand like, hey, I'm underperforming for this reason, and try to build on that underperformance and improve, rather than just be like, oh, I'm fucking fucked. Sebastian Preston asked me, what keeps driving me to play this game? I love this game, but I can't go into classic mix without my friends because they'll get angry and I get frustrated too. Playing with my friends, having fun, and making content for you guys, really. That's it. I don't enjoy Destiny. I don't think I ever really have, except for D2 Year 1. Jade Bull 1080 asks, what do you truly enjoy in life? I would like to know what makes you tick. Is it gaming? If so, what type of gaming? Loot-based, RPG, FPS, construction? I don't have a fair answer for this. I truthfully, I don't know. I do enjoy gaming, but, like, that's about it. All I can really say is I like some MMOs. That shit's fun as fuck, dude. I love progression and being able to progress and that kind of stuff. I just don't think I'm a very happy, cheerful, and joyful person, so, yeah. Kimmy Cakes asks, if you could give 13-year-old version of you advice for the future, what would you say? I would probably say to myself, the ability to hone your skills exceeds potential far beyond what you will ever know currently. Nicholas Nelson asked, D1 or D2 and why? D2 because I didn't really like D1 very much because it was on console, and the FOV was shit, and the FPS was shit. But other than that, the PvE was fun. I didn't really like the PvP though. Anonymous has asked, what do you find more annoying? Shotties, snipers, or fusions? I find them all fucking annoying. I hate special weapons. Killa Avenger asks, are you considering in playing Flife and Jorts? No, Flife is garbage, and I don't own Jorts. Dak Chad asks, what anime have you watched? What is your favorite if you have watched? So I'll list off a good chunk. I haven't really watched many. Cowboy Bebop, Samurai Champloo, Afro Samurai, Naruto, Inuyasha, and I think that's about it. If I had to pick a favorite, it'd probably be Samurai Champloo or Cowboy Bebop. Dragon Slayer 24 CS. Do you have a thought process when picking a loadout? Is it a simple, this will be pretty fun or good? Or is there more to it? Pretty easy answer. Nope, I just pick whatever I think is random or fun or something like that, and I just fucking roll with it. Shashank Very Nasty asks, what other games do you want to play on stream / YouTube channel that isn't Destiny? And I hit a Risk of Rain phase, and I love Pokemon or Celeste or get ton of zero playthrough from you. RuneScape, WoW, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Will asks if I smoke crack. No, I don't. Crack is whack, kids. Just Sandy asks, how's your experience with Destiny been since it's come out? It's definitely had its ups and downs, and I want to hear a more PvP-centric point of view. So, ideally, I really liked the game in Season 1 and 2. I think the Go Fast update was really good for everything except for Super Generation and Heavy Ammo spawn rate. I thought that shit sucked balls, and it's kind of funny how we've literally gone full circle twice now. And I thought the game was a lot of fun in Season 4 before people discovered things like One-Eyed Mask and Ursa Furiosa, because you had, like, you know, Not Forgotten and all that kind of stuff. I think if OEM and Ursa Furiosa never existed, then the game would have been in a really, really good spot, and things like Arc Battery and Wormhusk Crown, of course, things like that. I think it would have been really, really good right now, but unfortunately here we are. Synthesis asks, why did you stick with R3 over OSRS, and can you carry Solak? So to answer the second question, no, but I have a friend who wants me really badly to get into Solak. I stuck with RS3 over OSRS because the speed of the game is a lot different. It's an entirely different game, and I feel like comparing the two is just not fair at all. And I just much prefer the speed of RS3. I lived OSRS and I was near max before I got banned on it, but I just enjoy the pace of RS3 and the PVM and the combat system a lot. I played RS3 and WoW both for PvE or PVM, depending on what you call it, but for two different reasons. It's because one's complex and then one's very free-flowing. Iridor4 asks, who is my waifu? Your mom. Bad Souls player asks, why do Warlocks suck so much? Because they don't have really good exotics, and they don't have really good abilities, except for a handful. They have a good super, too, so that's a plus. This is also subjective, so. Terraberg asks, what's your favorite Pokemon and why? So I used to be a really big Fire-type fanboy, but Blastoise is my favorite because he's got some fucking water cannons on the back, and Blastoise, bro, is fucking sick Pokemon. Or Tyranitar. Knowledge DH asks, if you could play all games on Linux, would you use Linux? Literally, no fucking brainer. Yes, I would. If I could go to Linux and have no complications when using my Windows programs and editors and shit like that, I would have been on Linux like 10 years ago. Anonymous question, how do you make decisions, placement-wise, with your arc bolt grenades? I look at the radar and I make a good judgment call whether or not there's going to be a lot of people who are doing something like capping a flag or pushing for heavy, something like that. Taran Tipper with a chunky question. Why did you decide to start content creation? Why not go for a more common lifestyle, working and coming home to play games instead of making games your job? Question mark. I'm not trying to judge you by any means. I've just been in the same situation, as I'm sure many of us have, where the idea of playing games for a living was appealing. Love your videos, by the way. I'm just curious. I had nothing better to do with my time, so I was like, fuck it, let's stream and make videos, and here I am today. I kind of answered this question in a similar fashion, but not quite to this precision. So, question from Anonymous. Do you think racism still exists? Absolutely. That's all. Chicken Nugget asks, why Ophidians over transversive steps? Because transversive steps, I've commonly said that, oh, it's a mistake fixer, which the same argument could be used as for Ophidians. But I just like the inherent quick draw and all that shit that Ophidians always have, so it feels nice. Fast handling makes things feel really good. Tizzy asks, how you live in Hotshot? La Vida Loca. Manuel asks, in your opinion, what is the thing that requires an urgent fix in Destiny 2 right now? Either matchmaking or class balance with shit like Arc Battery, Worm Battery, and Thunder Coil. Anonymous asked, Tony Gun, can we get a photo with you and Toloni at GCX? If Tony's there, sure. Matthias Thompson asks, best class in D2. I mean, if you want me to be serious, it's probably Hunter right now, since you have to kill them 3 times in PvP. Ninja Boy X223 Gaming asks, what do you do in your life besides streaming? I play video games. I program as a hobby and semi-professionally. I don't really do it for money. I would do electronics every once in a while. I go shopping. I talk shit. I make YouTube videos. Thoughts on Sweats versus Comp? Should a game that is space magic and Kamehameha Blast be taken as seriously as some do? I mean, that's entirely up for the individual to decide. Of course, Sweats or Scrims or whatever you want to fucking call it is a more curated experience with the rule sets and bans and stuff like that, and Comp is just anything goes. I don't really like either of the playlists or things, if you will. I don't think it should be taken seriously, and I don't think it ever will be taken seriously. Red Spider-Man 100 asks, are you religious? What are your views on religion as a whole? No, I'm not really religious, and my views on religion are, I mean, if you follow one, that's cool. If you try to overly impose your views on someone in any context, not even just religion, you're probably just a fucking cuck. Like, that's really what it boils down to. Miguel Gava asked, who's the best PvP player you played against? I wouldn't be able to identify the best player since I played against a lot of really good players in tournaments and pubs and comp and stuff like that, so I'm just going to say it myself since this is an entirely subjective question and it doesn't matter what my answer is here. Anonymous asks, are you even level 1000 anime? No, I'm only level 76. Terraberg asks, can you make more content explaining how to play with the team and or more in-depth looks at support builds? Something more than just play with the team, lol. Yeah, and I can give you a little bit of a breakdown here. Different players have different roles. It's just inherently how some people are. Sure, you can develop yourself to be a different player in a different role or whatever, but ultimately you're going to have to play to your strengths. Majin Fahid asks, is there any extracurricular activity you like to do besides gaming? If not, is there anything you'd like to do in the future? I do a little bit of programming, a little bit of electronics, and I do laundry. GTL friend. IJSD asks, why do you have no content, Mr. Sidesman? Because I'm not very creative, to be fair with you. Luke Simon asks, would you rather have no bacon and unlimited video games or bacon and no video games? I'm not a huge fan of bacon in general. It's not bad, I'll eat it, I like it, but I think it's a little overrated. I don't really like video games either, so I don't know how to answer this one. Can I have neither? Is that okay? Can I just like have a lot of grapes or something? Terraberg asks, how do you know when to stay with your team or when to go for a flank, especially relevant in survival? This is a little bit complex of a question, and it really just boils down to experience in knowing the situation, being able to read the situation. If it doesn't take long enough to go for a flank, sometimes it's beneficial, but a lot of the time, explosives and equipment do enough of the work for you just to be able to push as a team and benefit more than going for a elongated flank. There's some differences to this, like when starting off rounds, but this is a topic for a different video. Mr. Potter asks, what's my go-to marinade for steaks? Whenever I used to use marinades, I would use this Jack Daniel's mesquite flavored marinade. Next Big King asks, you could bring back any D1 exotic, what would it be and why? And if you don't want to bring one back, create your own. So I have two that I'd like to make, because I don't really like D1 exotics. One would be, no, you don't get a super, but every single kill you get steals super energy from the enemy player that you killed. Or a support exotic, which is you heal any allies within 10 or 15 meters of you for 1/10 of the damage you inflict. Kengen asks, do you suck toes? No, not really. Juno asks, how are you today? Like, genuinely, what are your frustrations with day-to-day Destiny? The artifact mods, one-hit kill abilities, and just the general state of the PvP sandbox with things like Spare Rations, Mindbenders, Beloved, etc. It's all really, really, really easy to be good at the game now. But aside from that, I don't hate the game that much. I can play it. What are some signs that your friend group are some you shouldn't be hanging out with, going through a tough time? So I think that this really boils down to your intuition. If you feel like you shouldn't be hanging around with people, then don't hang around with people. It's quite that simple. But generally, you know, if they're like shitty people, if they kind of have reoccurring trends of backstabbing or hiding information or something. Of course, everyone's allowed to have their own personal like stuff like that, but trust your intuition. That's my best advice I can give you on this. Anon asks, ever thought of playing Facey competitive? Not once ever. Joe Sandy asks, you got pets? No, but I like cats and dogs and ferrets and stuff like that. Can't have pets where I am right now. Ike Hop asks, how do I turn assists into kills? You do more damage. Or hit the last shot. Sage asks, favorite food and or meal and why? I don't really have a favorite, but I guess I like buffalo chicken a lot. Especially if it's boneless. That's about all I got for you. I just like spicy foods. And chili. Chili's fucking good as shit. I love chili, especially chili spaghetti. This guy asks, who do you think is the best solo player in Destiny as a carry team no matter how bad? Again, with this kind of subject, it's very subjective, ironically enough. So I would just say myself in order to save egos. Knowledge DH asks, who is your largest role model and who inspires you? So I don't really have role models or anything like that. I don't have anyone that I like live my life after. But to throw some context out there, in terms of Twitch, for the viewer engagement and socialization and just overall environment, it'd probably be Asmongold. For the personality and stuff like that would be Esfond. And a couple other people here and there, but those are two of my really big influencers, if you will. Jacob Gives asks, do you hate current matchmaking? Fuck yeah, I hate it. All I match is Asians. Can't play the game. Anonymous asks, what would I be doing right now if being a pro gamer didn't turn into a job? I don't know. Terraberg asks, how many loadouts should you have in your rotation? Should you just practice one or two, or having a large breadth of options smarter? I would say just get really good with 1, 2, 3 loadouts and stick with that and be able to rotate those when you need to. Steven asks, so whenever in your neck of the woods, what's a joint you recommend I check out? For food, ideally. There's a place in Ybor City called The Bricks. Pretty fucking good. Robert Souza asks, what's your thoughts on going back to 4v4, but with this sandbox? As much as I like 4v4, I think it would play like dog shit. Oni-chan asks, why are you so cute? Jack the Ripper asks, dedicated servers Lucky asks, Warlock Master Race? Nope. Miserin asks, what's the one thing you want to do better as of right now? Make better content. If you were to 1v1 Sir Kami, who'd win and why? I don't know, he's a really cheeky player, but I think I have good fundamentals, so it'd be an interesting match for sure. He'd probably win though, just because Destiny is Destiny. Although I think in year 1 it was pretty mutually agreed that I would probably win that most times. Terraberg asks, when is Destiny most fun for you? How would you recommend others find fun in the game? It's fun when I play with friends. Other than that, I don't really have too much fun. I'm probably the worst person to ask this question. Taurus asks, is D2 content how you make your living? If so, how did you come to the decision? What was the initial process like? Previous jobs, educations? I worked retail. It was stupid, so I made videos because I had nothing better to do, and I streamed because I had nothing better to do. And now here we are, I'm making a Q&A because I have nothing better to do. It's quite a recurring theme here. And the second part of your question is probably some topics I'll get into in another video. It's quite a chunky question, just know I did acknowledge it. And I put a lot of thought into it and just decided that it wasn't fit for this Q&A. Julian Valero asks, a random question, what hair products do you use in your hair? For styling, pretty much nothing. I mean, sometimes I'll use like pomade or something. Shampoo, I use Head & Shoulders, usually the mint flavor. Lamal Bush asks, what's your next video idea? Mousen asks, bathwater when? Whenever you turn on the shower. And Zeus asks, what makes you happy? I don't know, I'm not really a happy person, but I'm not like a sad person or anything like that. I'm not too hyped about anything. Anonymous asks, can I have a hug? Sure, why not? Anonymous asks, do you believe in socialist government policies? Why or why not? I mean, ideally, humans are greedy in general, so not really. And I'm probably not going to get into politics and economics, but people are greedy. Andrew Snap asks, what's your favorite thing to do when you're not playing video games or sleeping? Eat food or program? Make stuff. I like making stuff. Making stuff is fun. I also like watching stuff like Eric Andre show, like Mega64 on YouTube, always have, and stuff like that. Comedy. Probably answered this before. How do you get the name sides? To give you the TLDR explanation, there was a pro Halo player named Clutch who his gamer tag was Westside, and so my name's Easton. So I took that and then put 2 Z's on it, and I dropped the like thing from it, and that's how we have side ZZ. If you could provide people your biggest word of advice on how to overcome a mental low, what would you say? I mean, every trough has a crest, and every crest has a trough, right? So, I mean, really it boils down to just getting yourself over that mental block, getting past that wall, and trying to come up with a resolve on how you can improve your current situation. Non-ass, what can't you deal with? Incompetence, ignorance, annoying people, and little kids. God, I hate little kids. Holy fuck. Apathicist asks, do you ever feel like people on the internet aren't even real? Every once in a while I kind of dissociate and I think I'm talking to robots or something, but for the most part, no. Although I run into some teammates, man, I swear they can't be real people. Yuri asked, favorite TV series / movie ever? The Dark Knight was pretty good. Why are you always the perfect mix of monotone and chill? Taka Brood asks. Probably because it's not a forced personality like most people have. I just don't give a shit. Anon asks, who makes you happy? I make me happy. You make me happy. You replied to my Q&A. Anonymous asks, what's the worst or trolliest question you were asked in this Q&A? Probably the one about playing Flife. That game's complete fucking dog shit. Pharaoh asks, if you were given the opportunity to travel back in time, what time period would you choose and what would be the first thing you would do? This is a very tough question for me to answer since I have a little bit of a different thought process on it. But I'll try to justify as well as I can. So if it was like more of a permanent thing, like I couldn't return, it'd probably be like the late 90s, early 2000s, because the gaming scene there was, I wouldn't say primitive, but it was fresh, and there was a lot of new stuff like Halo 2, Quake, Counter-Strike, Half-Life. It was all very new, and everything was just so up and coming. And I would have loved to have been like a developer around those times, and even a gamer around those times, just to see it all happen and unfold. It sounds like really exciting for someone who was like maybe a teen or early 20s around that time. It was more about sightseeing, and you just, you know, you get to leave whenever you want. I'd probably say something more around like the lines of Edo period Japan. That shit sounds super dope. I'd love to go and see that kind of stuff. Anonymous asks, what's something small that another person does that makes me happy? All the developers of the games that they've made, RuneScape, WoW, Destiny, Activision over at Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, and all that stuff. All the work that these people do, it might seem small to other people, but it's pretty big to me, and it makes me quite happy to see that there's some people who, they really do strive for their jobs, even though they're kind of shit on pretty hard. Jonathan Edwards asked, this post made me laugh so hard, but for real, what's something you always wanted to do? Probably not be tired for one day of my life. So I just want to thank everyone who came out and answered the Q&A on all 3 platforms. I didn't really think I'd get much of a turnout on this, but here we are nearing 33 minutes, so it means a ton. It means a ton. I guess I just kind of underestimated the people who watch my content. I appreciate it, everyone, for all the time and effort and all that stuff. A lot of very good thought-provoking questions and stuff like that. If yours was omitted, it was probably stupid, or I probably just couldn't come up with a fair enough answer that I thought you deserved. I don't want to give any excuses, so thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it, as always.